shreds the canons of utterance for urgency. I am gall, I am heartburn, God's most deep decree. Bitter would have me taste, my taste was me. Bones built in me, flesh filled, blood brimmed, the curse. Ecstasy and anguish have broken realistic depiction. Again Hopkins, our evening is over us, our night whelms and will end us. Where of a world where self-wrong, self-strong, sheathed and shelterless, thoughts against thoughts in groans grind. The trump of doom sounds again in the frenzy of private vision. In the first decade of this century, Cézanne's abstraction of the visible world into geometry was carried all the way in analytical cubism, partly, as in this Picasso, taught by what was most primitive, the African mask. This demolition and discovery still rides the Nietzschean soothsaying wave. So the futurists, and like young lions we go pursuing death, with Rilke, George, Hesse's Damien, Irish revolutionaries and world socialists too, hailed the Superman call to the shrapnel liberation of war. Though we are closer to that mood in Franz Marc's Tyrolean landscape of 1915, a year before he was killed in action, 7 centuries had labored at the rationally ordered realm of space, time, and cause. It was a release now, a yea saying to sacrifice it on Pierrot Lunaire's altar of Heraclitean fire. Every angel is terrible, wrote Rilke, yet woe is me, I sing you down, almost death-dealing birds of the soul, knowing what you are. Jeder Engel ist schrecklich, und dennoch weh mir, ansing ich euch, fast tödlicher Vögel der Seele, wissend euch. In these images of face and landscape, the whole pride and catastrophe of Western man beckons. How could democracy in America, 1849, have done otherwise than reaffirm with the clarity of everyday enlightenment that landscape meeting ground of visionary and real, the irradiated space of a wild continent, ordained Eden for a new race of reason and heart? And how it would strike at those daylight Emersonian hopes that Ryder, after Melville and the Civil War and the Gilded Age, would shut himself in a New York apartment, painting in solitude a night nature of symbolic menace. El Greco's Toledo and Goethe's Walpurgis Night win back in an American haunted by the sea. Ridiculous, in 3 terminal slides to deal with a global century, as labyrinthine in warring ways as a Pollock bateau-ivre soul-scape of drips and muscular movements, jerked off in peristaltic defiance of the old arrogation to order self and world, as if possessed from between the stars, we were breathing great gulps of Pythagorean void. If this is the space we operate in, we must search with Earl Brown in music for other modes of operation. In the lunge from willed depiction to a swirl, where face and landscape drown. Was it only the socialists who would uphold the blatancy of the old claim of man's responsibility for space and time? And even that programmatic hope, in the between-war throes of the liberal West, assumed in Cater Colwitz the age-old Roman shadowings of despair. What does it mean for face to choose between this and the abstract void? Are real leaders to be expected where the affirming image is no longer real? Most modern art has taken another aim, to push to the threshold of sense what drove Wallace Stevens to slough off the images of Sunday morning on the dump, to eject, to pull the day to pieces and cry, "Stanza, my stone, where was it one first heard of the truth, the? But what else besides the artist himself, Rothko, must go down in the transcendental reduction of that purple pool? We do not like to hear what the history of the images makes commonplace, that art as real comes at a cost. When the modes of music change, Plato says in the Republic, the fundamental laws of the state always change with them. In the Roman Empire, when spirit turned from mastered outwardness to the abstract call beyond that wavering veil, those anchorites, St. Anthony and the rest, knew what they aimed at was the end of the world, as Yeats, in a time he considered parallel. Ah, what a sweetness strayed through barren Tibet and by the Mareotic Sea, when that exultant Antony and twice 1,000 more starved upon the shore and withered to a bag of bones. What had the Caesars but their thrones